Good morning, students. Today our topic is red and brown algae. In our previous lecture, we have discussed about green algae or chlorophyceae under kingdom Plantae. So today, red and brown algae. First of all, red algae, which is also known as rhodophyceae or rhodophyta. Most importantly, the pigments or photosynthetic pigments in red algae are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll D and phycoerythrin. Because of this pigment phycoerythrin, these algae do appear red in color. But actually one thing I want to tell you that these red algae actually do not appear red in color all the time, depending upon their location inside the ocean or sea. For example, in case of deep water or in case of deep ocean, what happens? This phycoerythrin pigment in very large extent in the red algae, or there is a that means more of phycoerythrin in this rhodophyceae. Because of more phycoerythrin, they actually absorb the wavelength of green and blue color. For blue and green color wavelength, they absorb due to having more of phycoerythrin, and that's why they do appear red in color. But in case of shallow water or near the coastal region, they do appear green in color because of having very less phycoerythrin, and they do absorb red wavelength. So because of absorbing red wavelength and having very minimum phycoerythrin in the shallow water, these red algae do appear green in color. But in the deep ocean, they do appear red in color because of having this more of phycoerythrin or red pigment. Okay. So as I told you, it is marine in nature and has no flagella. So it moves along with the tides or waves of ocean. Cell wall, the composition of cell wall is a cellulose, pectin and sulfate types of substances. Reserve food material is a Floridian starch, and this Floridian starch actually very similar to the amylopectin and glycogen. Okay. The famous example of rhodophyceae we have are Gelidium, Gracilaria, Chondrus, which is also known as Irish moss, and Porphyra. When it comes to reproduction, these rhodophyceae do reproduce vegetatively, asexually, and sexually. Vegetatively reproduce via fragmentation, simply division of parent body into daughter bodies. Okay. Asexually via non-motile spores, and sexually via non-motile gametes. So you can see over here non-motile spores, non-motile gametes. That means non-motile means they do not have any flagella, and sexually through non-motile gametes, or you can also say oogamous type of sexual reproduction. Oogamous type means female gamete is stationary and male gamete approaches the female gamete. Actually, as I told you that they do not have any flagella. That means female is obviously without flagella as well as male gamete, but male gamete actually approaches the female gamete with the help of tides or waves. Economic importance: this Gelidium and Gracilaria have very prominent importance in the formation of in the formation of agar-agar medium. This agar-agar medium is actually nutritive or very nutritive medium, and this agar-agar medium is widely used in the research work, especially in case of tissue culture, okay, or micropropagation. Then this porphyra is also edible in nature, and it is used as flavoring agent in various packaged foods. This contrast, which is also known as Irish moss, which is used as food in northern European countries. Okay, so it's all about red algae. You have to remember these pigments, chlorophyll A, D, and phycoerythrin. I tell you the reason why they do appear green as well as red on the basis of their location in deep water and shallow water. So because of having more phycoerythrin, they do appear red, and when in the shallow water, uh, they do have more these chlorophyll pigments and less phycoerythrin, they do appear green in color. Okay. Now this brown algae, which is also known as scalps and phaeophyce or phaeophyta. Pigments are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, and this fucoxanthin. This fucoxanthin is responsible for the brown color in brown algae. And as you have observed that this chlorophyll A pigment was present in case of green algae, in case of red algae, and also in case of this brown algae. Actually, chlorophyll A photosynthetic pigment present in all plants, right from algae to angiosperms. So that's why this chlorophyll A is known as a primary photosynthetic pigment. Okay, let's come to the brown algae. Pigments chlorophyll A, C, fucoxanthin, which is also known as brown pigment. We have example like laminaria. Here you can see the structure of laminaria. This is a hold fast. This laminaria is not free floating. Actually, it is attached to a substratum with the help of this hold fast, and this is stipe. This type can be very long in size, and they may be a few meter to several meters in length. Okay, the cell wall is made of cellulose and alginic acid. Okay, the difference between brown algae and red algae. Cell wall is cellulose, pectic substances, and sulfate. Cell wall is cellulose and alginic acid, also known as algin. And this alginic acid actually it is a phycocolloid, and it is responsible for protecting alga from drying and from waves or on heavy tides of ocean. The second example after laminaria is having sargassum, is very famous brown algae. This sargassum is free floating. Actually, it is not attached to any substratum like this laminaria. This is free floating brown algae, and you might have heard about Sargasso Sea. Sargasso Sea actually located within the Atlantic Ocean, in the North Atlantic Ocean, and that that part of Atlantic Ocean is actually fully covered with this sargassum free floating brown algae, and that's why the actually the movement of ships is prohibited in that area, and this due to this sargassum, actually the economic importance of this sargassum, or you can say the you can say uh, very environmental, you can say importance of this sargassum having because it allows diversity inside that the part of ocean, and because of the diversity it provides in that ocean part, this sargassum or that Sargasso Sea is known as floating rainforest of ocean. So after sargassum, it's fucus, and ectocarpus. These are four very important examples of brown algae: laminaria, sargassum, fucus, and ectocarpus. Then let's come to the reproduction. In case of fucus, is sexual reproduction, where this diploid plant actually releases zoospores, which are also diploid. Here you can see this diploid 2N plant releases zoospores, reproductive bodies you can say, which are also diploid. Why? Because when this diploid plant form these zoospores, there is no meiosis or there is no meiotic division. So because of having no meiotic division, zoospores are also diploid in nature. And ultimately these zoospores, again, they do form this plant body again. Okay. And in case of ectocarpus, is very interesting. This diploid plant, you can see over here, this diploid plant actually forms two type of sporangia. One is a unilocular type and second one is a plurilocular type. This plurilocular type of sporangia uh, led to the this plurilocular type of sporangia actually do form or develops these zoospore. They release zoospores which are also diploid. That means this plurilocular type of sporangia does not include meiotic division during the formation of zoospore. That's why these zoospores are diploid and they again do form or they do will be developed into the diploid plant body, as you have seen in case of fucus. In other way, this sporangia, this unilocular sporangia, what happens in this case, which is quite interesting, this unilocular sporangia undergoes meiotic division or meiosis and forms zoospores, which are haploid, not diploid. They are haploid. Why? Because this unilocular sporangia have undergone meiosis. This plurilocular has not undergone any meiosis, any meiotic division. That's why zoospore was diploid in nature. But this, in this case, this undergoes meiosis and forms zoospore, which are haploid. These haploid zoospore will be developed into this haploid plant. This haploid plant develops two types of gametes, male gamete and female gamete. This haploid plant develops male gamete and female gamete, which are also haploid, as you know. These haploid male and female gamete, they get fused with each other to form a diploid zygote. So this diploid zygote then developed into this diploid plant, and then cycle will go on again and again repeatedly. So it's all about red algae, rhodophyceae, and brown algae, phaeophyceae. The next lecture we will discuss about bryophytes. Thank you.